that her role was to basically keep Umi hostage and away from the house while some of the other ones went by. And
so he was there. Like when I got in, it was like 6. He had got there early in the morning, and so when I got to the house around 6, he was still there. So I know he had to be. I mean, based on what he did, he had to be.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because he had what was it? I think he had Tahir and Abdurrahman.
Right.
With him over there. He had them go catch Metro.
Right.
And Shauna picked them up from the Metro station.
Because actually, Abdurrahman was coming to the house because I was leaving to go to the shop, and then I saw the text that Tahir sent Shauna while I was still on the train.
Oh, okay.
So that means they were actually on the fine.
Oh, okay.
So the food came out all right.
It
No, alhamdulillah. Yeah, actually, it was some left in that pan. The pan, was it some left in some of the chicken left in that? Okay. Well, I had made two more pans that was already in there. So I guess what I do, inshallah, is well, we got them turkeys. We'll just fix up the turkeys, and if it's 5 people come, it don't make no difference. We just set the tables up here and party. And they go. It ain't gonna hurt him. He can just eat till he fall out. So yeah, is that next Sunday? No. Wait a minute. It's Sunday after next. Next Sunday is no, it's next Tuesday, isn't it? Something like that. Not Tuesday. Yeah. Let me see what the heck. The second is on. Why the heck did we choose Tuesday? Yeah, this coming Sunday. Yeah, because right, this weekend coming up is all the New Year's and everything. And the second is, yeah, that's what I thought. I was wondering how could we have a program on Tuesday? So this is Sunday. It's 1 week from now. Okay, good. How many people, was it a few people came to Juma? Just a few. Okay. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This would be Masjid al-Islam Strikes Back, number 3. Did we do number 2 yet? Okay, so this is a Masjid al-Islam Strikes Back. One, two, three. That way we'll keep everything in. And today's the 26th time. Yeah, after Navidad. Feliz Navidad y prospero año nuevo. Yep. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, brothers. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. is related on the authority of Tauban radiallahu anhu that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if a Muslim says the following supplication 3 times in the morning and in the evening, Allah has made it incumbent upon him to please him on the doomsday. I am satisfied with Allah as my Lord. Islam is my religion, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam as the messenger of Allah. So, Raditu billahi Rabban. I am satisfied with Allah as Lord. Hey, it don't sound like much when you're just talking, but that's a big deal. When you say I'm satisfied with Allah as Lord, I'm satisfied with Allah is the creator and has created all of this and put it all together, and just amazed and just like there's one word that they like to use of being in awe. Like if you're standing up on the Grand Canyon or something and you're looking out, you're just in awe. And I remember it didn't happen to me first at this Grand Canyon, but there's a Grand Canyon in Mexico, Cañón de Cobre, Copper Canyon. And if you go down to leaving U.S., say from Texas, and you go down to the state of Chihuahua, and you catch a train across Mexico to Michoacan. As you going across that belt, of course this is 50 years ago or more, almost, so it's probably different, not the canyon, but when you go across, there's a place where the train parks and let everybody look at Cobre Canyon, and you look out at that, and you look, it's like the Grand Canyon of Mexico. And then see, Allah put all that together. The time sequences, everything that's going on, Allah put it all together, and you're satisfied with, you're not only who are you to be satisfied, but you're pleased and grateful and thankful, and you're in awe. You just basically, if you had a whole look at the creation, you would be just the creation that Allah created. You would be in awe, all the great wonders of the world, Moshe Tunji, the great falls in Africa and what have you, those great river systems, you would be just in awe, like, man, this is deep. And I had a similar experience like that too in Peru. In Peru, the capital of Peru is Cusco. Well, no, the capital of Peru is Lima, but the old capital was Cusco. Cusco is about 15,000 feet up. And when you go into those, they built new churches on the foundations of old Inca. And when you get there, you started studying a little bit about the Incas, and they show skulls and tools. The tools are the tools that the Inca used to have brain surgery. As over 500 years ago. And they have the tools there, and they have the skulls from the people that some of the people they performed surgery on. You can see a perfect circle, and they you had pressure on your brain. They didn't just sit around mystified and hula bula and sprinkle dust on you, and stuff. Shoot, they said there's something upstairs, we just cut it open, take a look at it, and they've been studying brains all that time, and they pushed this thing and pushed that thing, and you could tell the people lived because they had the surgery, and the skull that you find could tell you that they lived after that. They didn't just pass away. And then there's a place I always mention it, Machu Picchu. Now, I was surprised about this place because we was traveling along. First, Cusco is about 15,000 feet up, and you travel along this long plateau. Then you reach the river. It's called the Urubamba River. Technically, it's the headwaters of the Amazon. And you're going, and they tell you that there's a city up there, but you can't see it. It was called the Hidden City because when the Spanish came, they just murdered people. All the noble peoples ran away. They ran into the jungle, and they built a whole new spot up on top of a mountain, a series of mountains, and you can't see it when you're going down the river. You can't see. You can look up, but you can't see you can't see them. You can't find them. They up there, unless they got smoke from a fire or something. You can't see them. And they built this whole city. Actually, it's been rebuilt. This was called the Lost City of the Incas. It was found in Hiram something or other in 1911. So you know where they excavated and kind of rearranged it. They got terraces up there where they would plant all the crop, everything. They up there, they self-sufficient up there. They're self-sufficient up there. And they got guards, and they're going to watch if some Spanish come that way, which they never did because they never found the city, that they can put them fires out, and they just up there, and the Spanish can't see them from down. It's another 3,000 feet down to where the river's running. And you can't see up there. You know, like maybe a bird, you know, a lot of you could see, you could fly up there and see. But anyway, these were mystical places, you know, like you hear about places like Tibet, and you get a little, it's a spiritual experience. It's like all the haze and the fog, and, you know, and they got places you could stay down. That actually, it's just not bamboo huts. It's not even huts. It's like one of the bus stations out. There's things out. You could stay in there. You know, they. It's not fancy, but it is really wonderful. Last things that the human being have built on, you know, when you go to the Great Pyramids and stuff like that, and they said this rock right here weighs, you know, over the door, it weighs 25,000 tons. And of course, you're just trying to make some kind of figure, well, how did they get that rock from down there to up there? Now the Negro got to answer, the nation. See, in those days, we had that mind power. We could make the rocks 25,000 tons, ain't nothing. It levitated, just, and it sits up there. That didn't satisfy everybody, but it, you know, it didn't satisfy, you know. But anyway, I don't know if you can notice, but technically this is a certain period, and I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. But this is when I'm satisfied with Allah as my Lord. This is one of those times. At other times, it was some things like this, but this is the time when you really kind of into it. I mean, like big time. So being satisfied with Allah as Lord. In other words, everything you read in the Quran and everything you hear about Hadith, all of that, it all makes sense. It all makes sense, and after you get recycled through that process of so-called evolution, you be like, okay, this is it. You're not guessing. I wonder if that's real, or I wonder if this. You just say, shoot, that's the way that is. Anybody can say what they want. They can run around. They can join this. They can be with everybody, and you might be there by yourself. You just look at them like they crazy. I don't know what's wrong with them. You know what I mean? Because this is real. That happens on a semi-regular basis, that you come to that conclusion that I'm satisfied with this. I hope everybody else is, but if they are, that'd be great. If they're not, they have to come to that conclusion. I'm satisfied with Allah as my Lord and Islam Medina. Islam is my religion. Islam is the religion. They have some nice religions, in the world. Maybe people not, some of the nicest ones, like Hinduism, nonviolent, they seem to be violent. I say, good God, as long as it ain't, if it's white folks, it's good for them. But for the Muslims, man, what they treating the Muslims in India, it's like super cruelty. It's like, right now today. Okay, we'll continue. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of Allah. We can see from the hadith and everything else that you get into that kind of yaqinism where you're certain, and then reviewing history, and I'm not saying that's enough, but though just to look at history and not only looking at it, but imagine that we're African Americans just strolling around in history and forecasting. If everybody say in 2000, oh, but Lebanon, it's terrible, we say, oh, no, that's Bashir room, that's going to be fine. Now, it just so happens that we made tapes of those and that people can hear it. That we're saying when everybody is saying, when they didn't hit the big oil supply and it drains off into the Mediterranean Sea, from Lebanon, and everybody's, oh, man. We said, oh, no, don't you worry about a thing. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure you remember, we wasn't batting no eye. Oh, no, we wasn't. We hope, we saw, oh, no, I'm telling you, don't you worry about that. And and 2 weeks later, everybody had their mouth wide open and was looking. Dog, man. And they was watching TV, and that was the big bad Zionists sitting on those big multi-million-dollar Abrams tanks crying like babies. I guess the Lebanese was wearing them ghost shirts. They worked for the Lebanese. They didn't work for the American Indians that brought them out. The bullets and stuff went right on through them. But anyway, like they were saying, we can't see them. We can't, of course they had tunnels and everything, but they was mystified. And they was showing them on TV. Now, it's worse than what they showed. They was sitting there on them multi-zillion-dollar tanks crying like babies. Crying. Tears. Okay. So, as we move along, this is the way that's going to be. This is going to go through certain stages. So we'll have a protracted struggle. It's going to be long range. It's going to go da-da-da-da-da. And then there's a couple more recently that I haven't even written down. But they're profound. Okay, so now That's why we're satisfied with Allah as Lord and with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then the historical process. Historical process is something that you recognize and you get to add and subtract and kind of associate a little, because you're actually the process of yaqeen. You're actually, it's belief plus, because, okay, you have belief, but this is like when a couple of the prophets say, oh, you don't believe like Abraham. I say, no, I believe, but I just want to see for myself, right? That's what he said, right? Okay, now, we're not Ibrahimic or nothing like that, but I'm satisfied with what I've seen. I'm satisfied with that. I don't know what other people are saying. I don't know how their math is going, but it's done added up extraordinarily accurate. You know, not only once or twice, time after time after time. So, and then the fourth stage is us. Now, this fourth stage is us. We've been into that all along. But I'd like to explain a few things about evolution. We take 1966 to 1968. You know, I was just into kind of working on a job, everybody in the neighborhood. It's nice, you know. And then the white man, the Americans, government, influenced a couple of my friends. Well, what they did was they borrowed a couple $100 from me. It was only $200, but I guess that time it was a little bit of money. So they borrowed $200 because didn't nobody else save no money, and I always saved money from Jump Street. So then they paid me back the $200, but they paid me back. They gave me, that's what the whole deal was to give me some marijuana, because I was living a semi-halal type life. And I mean, but like I took brothers in my car every Sunday, like today, over to San Francisco, to the temple, you know. In fact, Bernard Kushmir was a minister there. And I don't know if y'all remember, this is the one, our Savior has arrived. Yeah, that Bernard Kushmir left when I was there, and he moved to Phoenix with the Lamb. That's where he wrote those books at. Bernard Kushmir anyway, he was a minister. Then Henry Masjid came. And the only people that remember all these people, when I went to Sudan with, what's the guy come on the radio sometime? Askia. We would have long conversations. We could talk about all that history. And he and I just hung together the whole trip to Sudan. And finally, Hadari said, he asked something about, does he know what because Askia used to be the editor of Muhammad Speaks long time ago. So he knew everybody, and he told me, he said, man, that lecture that you gave on W.L. Nolan when we was down at the thing, he said, that was my first assignment back in the day. W.L. Nolan, you know, and he said, that was my first assignment. So, and then all the people we would talk about, Henry Masjid, all of them, he knew them all, and so I knew most of them. And we'd talk about who's crooked. Oh, that's the crookedest Negro Muslim I ever seen in my life. Boy, yes, he was. But he was crookeder than you thought he was, because he was an official. So he, you know, I'm looking from the outside, And we'd mention certain names. We'd both just look like this and look to the side because that was a bad loader. Anyway, so let me speed up. 1966, but by 1968, something happened. See, they wanted me to divert away from this black nationalism. So what happened was I went through a couple of, they gave me $500 worth of marijuana, and it was packaged in those cellophane bags. And it used to be they would give 3 matchboxes out for $10. You know, 1 matchbox is $5. You get 3. And they put in mind that they gave me 4 and 4.5. I think a few of them might have had 5 boxes. So I was selling them. They gave it to me. So I just said, well, I'll just sell it. What the heck? Nah, I didn't do nothing haram. Well, it wasn't haram. Hey, who cares? I mean, not, excuse me, let me stop. In those days, we were in the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam didn't have halal and haram. And according to the teachings, you wouldn't sell nothing like marijuana, but it was better than the other brothers who was selling all kind of, if you knew how, you're the black mafia in Florida, good God almighty. I mean, whew. Jeremiah Shabbat, I ain't gonna talk about it. But, you see, when it's nation time and you gotta build a nation, you know, then you gotta do a lot of stuff like the Americans did with the Indians. You got to do all that stuff to build a nation. That's what the idea was. Anyway, so I got busy, and then I kept that principle. And so I had in my mind that if I had said in my mind, the white man probably was mind reading, and I might have mentioned it to somebody. So I said, if I would have lived during Prohibition, I would have been a gangster. You know, I was just saying that. After all, watching the Untouchables and Al Capone. And when I saw Al Capone pull up one of them big old time limousines, I said, that's a bad boy there. And I had a little, call it epiphany. I said, man, I would like to drive up to my house and give my mother $1,000 in one of those kind of cars. I was just saying that. That's when I was 17. Is that cool air or is that warm air coming in? Yeah. Yeah. Well, if we turn it off for a minute, we'll see what happens. Okay, now, that's when I was 17. Now, later on, when I come out of prison, guess what I looked and saw? Everybody was smoking weed. It was different. If you went away in 1965, no, if you went away in 62 and you came back in 65, you would be in that was quick, man. Remember during that period, the whole thing from freedom rides, March on Washington, right? Malcolm is killed. All of that didn't happen in that period of time. I mean, it ain't like that was fast. Now imagine you come out and you're in the Oakland, Berkeley, San Francisco area, and white folks is running all around, and you say, why are you here? Well, my mother told me not to hang around black people, so that's why I'm here. I was thinking your mama told you right, watch them niggas there. But anyway, that was the world. It changed. Now that was San Francisco, Berkeley, and Oakland is different than the majority of the rest of the country. But anyway, to make a long story short, I started getting busy. But by 68, I had learned all of that stuff. And one of the first changes, like right now, I'm going to do something, but I'm doing this on purpose. And that was the same thing Martin Luther King did at the same time in Chicago. Hey, now remember, just in these couple of years, I done got rich beyond what I I had so much money, I had no other use. Well, I kept getting it. Didn't know what to do but keep getting money, but I kept on getting it. And I decided that I would do what they call a Black Economic Enterprise Zone. That's what happened in Oakland. That's why Oakland was different than every other country, every other city. So Oakland is unique, especially at that time. Okay, that was 68. And I'm going to speed up. So we went on from 68 to 71. We realized that activity, businesses everywhere, black people, and all the black people that I'm influencing heavily are my age and younger, or right a little above it, right? So I'm in my early 20s at that time. This had never happened because in the game, you had to evolve through a long criminal process and then you got big. So all the big people around us was old Negroes. They had no understanding of what we was doing. And I had one of my best friends, name was Honey Bear. He's a big pimp, big old black pimp, which is rare. He was from Ohio. And we was telling them stuff like the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Black consciousness. He didn't believe in it at all. Because all the other pimps was kind of yellow looking, kind of curly headed. And him and a few more, he was the biggest, blackest honey bear. This Negro looked like a bear. He had no pimp characteristics except he had tons of women. And we used to just call him Bear. And he was a friend of mine. I got a picture of him somewhere. So Bear, he didn't believe. Now we're all younger. They're all the older crew. All the other crew, the older crew, the Ward brothers. The youngest Ward brother was 7 years older than me. The youngest one, Willie, just died last year before last. He was 7 years older than me. Now, at that time, 7 years is a long jump. You know what I mean? At that time. Shoot, it's a third of your life. And so in game, but what happened was we came in with a whole new consciousness. They were conscious. They just like them. That's why you want to see them Negroes. You look at the movie The Mac. You'll see all of them, every one of them. You'll see all of the old Negroes. You'll see them right there. Okay, the point is this. They didn't have any of the ideology from us, which were younger. We coming in, listening to Malcolm and all that, and we have a concept of, at least I did. That was one of my mistakes. When I went to Algeria, I was telling them, now there's a whole crew of young niggas going to do the same thing I'm doing. And now here's a ton of money for y'all, and there's a whole lot coming behind. I was incorrect. That's the only incorrect thing and they told me that. They said, one of them, Setaway, Michael Tabor, he said, my uncle is a dope dealer, and that nigga ain't going to bring nobody nothing. And none of the ones that's like him, they was correct. I wasn't right on everything. But anyway, the point is this. During that period of 68, we instituted in Oakland exactly the hopes and dreams and aspirations that Martin Luther King them had where they was. Because Oakland was just the right size, you know what I mean? Just the right flavor. It was just, it was a combination that evidently it didn't work nowhere else. Nobody tried it like that. And, if you look at all the blaxploitation movies of that era, or a little bit after that, Mr. Big was always a Negro. Sometime they had dashikis on. Sometime they was little black organizations, militant. They had all kind, but none of them was real. None of them was real. We were the only ones that was real. Okay, let me speed up. 1971, it was all over. Boss man said, that's it. We run around chasing Panthers, and here the biggest problem is you. And trying to looked up, and all the Negroes was having money and buying homes and wealthy. What? And I just thought it was all right. I mean, I just, And then we fooled the white man. Now, that's why today we've been fooling the white man. And I'll tell you, do you remember the pictures I show you? One is with the Black Panther outfit on, free Huey buttons and a stingy brim hat, black leather jacket and all that. That was the outfit. But you see me a year and a half or two later, the sharpest Negro in the world at that time. That was a disguise. It was really a disguise. What was the disguise about? Number one, everything we was doing was colored kingfishism, super black nationalism. It was a mean combination. It was a serious combination. Number one, the Black Economic Enterprise Zone, everybody was whatever you wanted to do. I had friends that was fighters. I said, okay, here's some money, you go get the auditorium and produce your own fights. So they did it a couple of times, but everybody was not on that level yet. You know what I mean? So they wasn't thinking about it. It was trainers, not promoters. Good thing Don King, he tricked everybody. That nigga, he said, I got the idea on what to do. He'd have had all the money, and the fighters would have been trying to get back. Anyway, thank God. But there's only a few years difference now. You got to remember. But anyway, so that period, a very flamboyant period, and when I saw it wasn't working, in 71, I left the country, and went through, it was wonderful to leave the country and see the world. Huh?
Which is exactly the year that say the war on drugs started.
What?
71.
War on drugs. It's like war on poverty. The white man said, he said, I hear y'all done declared war on poverty. He said, yes, a new program. He said, but tell me where to surrender at. Y'all done declare, I want to surrender. This is a white man. Anyway, the war on drugs is the dirtiest thing in the world. It is so dirty, it is so nasty, and everybody's looking at it and don't know what they're looking at it. They look at the great Pablo Escobar. You know, when Pablo Escobar is coming up, now I was in Colombia at that time, and even in Medellin a little bit. Got lucky and I missed it. Because he's just a young guy just coming up, you know. Now, here's the deal, though. When you start doing anything, the government infiltrates you with lawyers and connections and everything. So Pablo Escobar was doing exactly what the government wanted him to do. No matter how big he get, his lawyers, where he's sending his money, what he's doing, they're going to get it all back anyway. And whatever they don't get back, don't worry. They'll estimate what they lost, and they'll print out the same thing. If Pablo Escobar told them that the Colombian debt is $4.5 billion, we'll pay it off if you don't sign this extradition treaty. The national debt, he's going to pay it off. Okay, this is, okay. So Pablo Escobar, a lot of people don't know. Number one, in Colombia, in a few years, things start happening. M19, the FARC starts selling drugs, just like the drug dealers, like the government. So why you think they sent all them helicopters and all that down, U.S. troops down to Colombia? To stop the to stop the other people from infiltrating their business, taking their business away. And right after that, you see that the Colombians had to deal with a treaty. After 54 years, they have to make a treaty with the government because they buying all them fresh new weapons. They're able to fight the government with all that cocaine money. So the U.S. went down there and put a stop to it. That's why the U.S. sent all them troops down to Colombia, to stop them guys from cutting in on their business. As soon as they finished their tour of duty with all them supersonic helicopters and everything, bam. The FARC had to they had to say, well, we'll cooperate. Why? They cut off their money. Why? Because the government is controlling. When you I think everybody knows that now. Ain't no way in the government in the world gonna let somebody running around in the streets get all of that money and they're not controlling it. Because if they let one guy go for 2 or 3 years and they'll look up, if they're not running him, that guy be so big, he just be looking around, and you notice everybody get big. Here comes somebody else. So it's a Sinaloa cartel. They got to fight that cartel, right? All the time. Cali cartel, then the Medellin cartel, everything. In the movement, here's black nigga number 1 and then black nigga number 2. They have to fight all the time. How is that some divide, conquer, and rule? How is that possible that every time somebody get big, right? If it's the Crips, if it's the Bloods, I don't care who it is, right? You're not going to come up clean, pure, and wholesome and just spread out because they know the process of explosion. See, at first you start getting money, it's mathematical. But then after a while, it goes into, what do they call that? Just boom, it's an explosion. And you get money so fast, it make your blood boil. I'm telling you from experience. you can be getting so much money, you can feel your blood pumping in your veins. Yes, it's true. I'm telling you. You know, that's why people get addicted to getting money. It's a rush. I mean, you juiced up. Eyes is big, looking all around. Man, look at here. Why do everybody that get rich and famous and powerful too quick go crazy? Literally everybody. Not everybody, but the numbers is like, right? Either they go crazy or somebody slip up and pop something on them or scare them to death and run them crazy. Yeah, I'm telling you. Well, anyway, we all know the drug trade. 71, I'm going to go fast. 72, it's kind of like what we're doing now. A setback ain't nothing but a setup for a comeback. So the white man done run us off and we all around the world. And we planning our comeback. It's fun to plan a comeback and actually do it. That is, you talking about a rush, I'm telling you, that's big. Especially when you done kind of figured out how boss man is. And you kind of figured how you fitting into this, and you traveling all around the world, and you can smell everything by then. There ain't no surprises. You can smell it all. You know boss man is in control of everything. And you know all the people you're dealing with is with boss man. So what do you have to do? Fine. You just get in there, right? And you start pitching and playing, and then you start shifting and ducking and doing this. And I told my friend that was down in South America, I said, do you remember in 72 when we was in Mexico City, some kind of way something that came from Colombia to Mexico City. I said, and we was walking different places in Mexico City. He said, yeah. I said, do you remember it was two women, a white one and a black one? No matter where we turned, they would turn, and we would turn. He said, yeah, I remember that. He said, do you remember that I said, because when I came from down there, people said that I brought some of the drugs on me, you know, because when you ready to come back, you ain't scared of nothing, you know, like getting caught. So maybe that's what they say. They be lying that I helped him bring it from Colombia to Mexico City. But I can't go into the U.S. because anyway. So I have seen them women in my life. I said, do you remember that within a half an hour that we brought that woman up to our hotel and packed her up with cocaine and had her bring it back along with yourself to the U.S.? He said, yeah, I remember it very well. He said she was the police, and I knew it. She was the police, and that's what they had her there, to help us bring the dope back. They knew what I had. They knew what they sold me down there. They knew what you've been doing there. You know what I mean? And they know what we've been talking about. They know the whole show. Right? This was just a year or so ago. See? I said, yeah. That's the way that was. I've been on that a long time. Okay, transition and evolution. Let's say 72, 80 to 80 and 81. Now this is the big transition. 81 to 89. We come here in 89. And we went through all what we went through with the Islamic movement. We got a chance to look at it and learn it. I mean, big time. 89 to 2002, that was right here. 2002 was when we had the last conference here, the last national conference. 2002, I saw what was happening, and from 2002 up to now, we re-engineered what we was doing. Since then, all those tons of Muslims just floated away, and we didn't run them away, but we changed the policy. Since the policy was different, they said, we got to go. One of the things that made Abdul Malik leave in 2008, it wasn't about no shenanigans. It was about something that I was doing and structuring and organizing. I was coming out with them talks too about snitchings and all that kind of stuff. And about, what did I call Oakland? I called Oakland clearinghouse. I said Oakland is a clearinghouse. Everything is coming through there, which it was. So Abdul Malik popped up and quit. Now Abdul Malik had brought years ago Sister Bahia and that whole crew. The whole crew. Is not possible for all of those people in LA, in Northern California, down in Irvine, and all of that. You know, in 2001, the day 2 days before September the 9th, we raised $100,000 for Imam Jamil at UC Irvine. And everybody was there. Ahmed Sakr, a little pretty boy out there, Sheikh. That's him. That's him. Everybody was there. Everybody. So how can we go from a house full of people and next day ain't nobody showing up for nothing? It don't work like that. And you haven't done nothing. You know, I mean, I haven't seen nothing, you know. But anyway, let's continue. So 2002, we shifted up and we're headed to where we have been in recent times. You know, that's 20 years ago. That's why we use the term longevity and all of that. Because that's the secret. That's one of the secrets of this movement stuff. It's a big deal. King didn't have it, Malcolm didn't have it, and other people that had it was moving so slow, like way back in the day. Booker T. Washington and them and all of them. And anybody came along with some rapidness but hitting the spot, pop, they had to go. So they tried to make Marcus Garvey look like a clown, but he rolled through and organized black people in such a hurry. This nigga got to go. And who helped him go? The Negroes. The Negroes pointed out, boss man, oh no, that nigga, you gotta, maybe you can get him on Bunko, maybe you can get him on this. They was in that office all the time. They was in there. Them nice people, they was in there. You got to get rid of that nigga. He making everybody look stupid. And then what's our homeboy that we have, the black guy that died in 27, 28? Hubert Harrison. What is everybody just up and dying, and they probably in their 20s, right? And what did people say? Wait a minute, he's too black. He's too black. Now, let me mention this. There's something going on. Personally, I don't do nothing to stay here a long time because of, like King said it, longevity, but I know the importance of longevity and I know the importance of protracted struggle. That's a gift from Allah. That Allah have you doing certain things that puts a protection. That's because the Quran says Allah help you from avenues you never even considered. So how could I talk this trash? And now we really fixed it. You think the past, the hitting it, designing. See, Boss Man has wrapped it up. He's already through. We going after the Zionist. I mean, he's number one on the list. Boy, we going to make fun of him. We going to talk trash out of the side of our mouth, and we're going to raise funds all around. We're going to do that with Allah's help, and ain't nothing they can do about it. Right? That's the plan. That's the way we're going to operate. Just to be brief. So, doing this right now, we'll just go out, maybe next week it'll just be a couple of teams. But we're going to have a program on the 30th, one of those numbers, in January. So we're going to repeat what we did now, except it'll be better. The second flyer was better than the first flyer that we just did. When we went over there and we started talking, the first part is just a warm-up. The second part, Arabs and everybody else is going, putting money. The guy on the gate is putting money in the thing. Why? Let me see. How can, like a lot of people just talking, but I'm looking at everybody. So I'm thinking, just like when the people come in, act a fool or sit down, look like stupid, I start throwing at them. So I was throwing in. You notice I switched to more Arabic. Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, because he's probably Arabic or he appreciates it. So when I switched to Arabic, and he can see that I remember things, especially I think I might have said 3 times about Palestine, about Masjid Al-Aqsa, you know. I went over and over again. That's to see where he's from. Wherever he's from, it got him. It got him to the point that he went and looked around and dropped some money in the box. Okay, that's on the job, right there on the spot, picking up what to do. You know, it's just throwing out, hey, how y'all doing, then you sitting in on. So what we're doing now is we're just playing around, getting the feeling. The next program for January will be a little more specific. The flyers will be more specific. They'll be more aimed. You know what I mean? Why we're here will be clear, right? We're here to rescue you. We're here to rescue the movement. We're here to change the process, and we're here to knock this Zionist over. And we ain't not going to say a whole lot about the USA. Let them be comfortable. But the Zionists, we're going to drag them through the mud. We're going to whip them with a switch. We're going to make fun of them. Okay? Probably it'll make them mad because the Zionists are still arrogant, but they're not bad no more. You got to look at the Zionists. The Zionists talking out of the side of their mouth, we're going to do this to Iran. The Zionists ain't going to do nothing to Iran. The Zionists are scared as they can be. They're over there paranoid right now, and they're trying to get the U.S., as usual, to fight their battles. And the U.S. is saying, man, we'd already been whooped 5 times in a row. What do you want, you know? Even, what's his name, with his old dumb self, he ain't going to do it. The Zionists are stuck. The Zionists are stuck. Now, when did we know this? We've been knowing it. Why is it time to strike? It's time to strike right now because the vulnerabilities are clear and present. They're right there. Right? And the Muslims have been hiding so long in the Masjid that if we can mobilize 10% of the Muslims, we got a zillion people. And we're the only ones doing it. And just the comeback part is going to be miraculous. I mean, just the comeback, not the big battle that we got. But I mean to come back, say within the next year, year and a half, when we, like right now, we're just saying we flat broke, like we would start when we would start our stuff over and again. We would start with the little money we got in our hand, nothing saved and all that. Well, this time they help you. And so the way we visualize it is that take this area, take Baltimore, D.C., and Richmond. That's our perimeter. We're going to knock it over. From here, we would have I kind of look at 4 teams. And we go out every week. And we're going to do that I might run back to California for a day or two, but no longer, just to pay some tax or something, and I'm coming right back. When I go to California, it'll be post-Eid al-Fitr. Post-Eid. So if Eid starts in April. Yes. Way up in April. Is it April the 2nd or something like that? Anyway, it's way up in April. I got it wrote down. Let me go and look at it here. See what it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to work, and people say, "Well, you've been resting and taking that." Of course, this is the thing that people forget. You should. They have the white man got R&R, rest and recuperation. Now, what if we fighting the whole thing? We're infiltrated from the outside, inside, and everybody is against us, right? That's basically true. And we just going to put our head down and keep running for the wall. Oh, no. So you struggle, keep your eyes open, and for longevity and long range and all of that to be proper, you have to control your internal and have some influence on your external environment. Yeah. And remember, we've always said, have fun doing what you're doing, not under stress. I'm saying we have really, really evolved. We have evolved already beyond any other movement in America in the past. I don't care whether it's a communist, socialist, none of them, right? And it's at the right time. We have evolved beyond any of them because we've been involved with the monsters. So the FBI is there, the police is there, the Zionist is there, and they let you know that they're there. And they've been there. And we make sure that we call them out and bring them out. So they can't say, we don't know nothing about that. They can't do that. They're just lying. So we haven't done a bad job. We have not done a bad job. I'm telling you. Why? Because we're farther along than anybody else. And nobody has ever got to the point that they're going to take on the main monster in front of everybody. See, part of our spiel is we're targeting the Zionists. They're the most brutal, rottenest people, and they're all in the public view. They can do anything they want to the people of Palestine, and nobody says nothing. Right? The U.S. can invade everybody in the world, and it's okay. No big deal. I mean, and they can kill, and they've been doing it. Like old Madeleine Albright, that old cracker lady says, Zionist lady, Jewish lady, says, it says 750,000 people have died because of your embargo. She said, I think it's worth it. Children, I think it's worth it. That's what she said. Hey, nobody start pulling their hair out. You think that's what's wrong with you? They didn't do that. Right? So now here we come. Let's look at it like it is. Number one, we're going to be self-sufficient. Well, nobody's allowed to survive. But we're going to have teams that go around every week with flyers and boxes every week from now on. All, inshallah. Okay. So just imagine as time go on, who's going to be visible? Where's the void? The void is there. It's a job nobody wants. How many people are we going to affect? A lot of people. A lot of people. Because in between that, we might have 2 Jumas. As we getting going, we have Juma at the White House. We have Juma down at the Capitol. Okay, we're planning for. That's why the core group has to be tight, because we're going to incorporate a few more people into this, and the people is here has to manage those people, right? So we send out people with boxes everywhere. One of us have to be there to. It's okay if somebody but we don't want people just like there's $1,000 in there. Well, let me leave $50 at least, in the box. It's okay. We're going to get by anyway. Here's the thing is, the way this is planned, we're going to get by anyway. We're going to remodel all of our everything here. We're going to bring it up to date with our own money that we're going to collect all around. I just want you to imagine that after a few months, we've been Baltimore, right? We've been to D.C. We've been down as far as Richmond, right? That means that now we've had this written down for years. You remember all of this stuff? Okay, but it's at the time for it to happen is now. That's where patience, you got to be patient with yourself and patient with your environment. And it's just like when you got to move something or lift something, you get a taste. That we have that taste. That taste is here. That means it's a done deal. It don't make no difference whether the government like it or not, or they throw monkey wrenches. Throw them. It don't. This is going to happen with Allah's help. So you do what you want to do. That's the way it looks to us. Okay, let me try to. Post-traumatic growth. I'll just be brief. We talked about that before. They have post-traumatic stress disorder. They got post-traumatic slavery disorder. They got a lot of that stuff. Y'all heard about all? They got all kind of, the Negroes talking about post-stress. The niggas is in slavery so long. Well, of course, it has some effect on you, right? But ain't no sense of sweating it now, right? We're not going to sweat all of that. We took this a long time ago that we're going to turn it around. Post-traumatic growth. That we're going to get growth out of this. We said it then, well, we said it to ourselves, but we've been working this all this time that when people look at it, they say, the masjid is falling down. It's pitiful. Nobody lives in anything. That's right. Why? Because that's the future home of our institutions. Right? In other words, that's stage one. When we complete that, the Strategic Command Center, the office structure, all of that, That's stage one. That's stage one. So this is the fun of it. What we're talking about now, or just visualize the organization. Just us going out a little bit now gives you a feel. Just multiply it 3 or 4 times, right? Okay, now then multiply it over a period of time when yours is the only message that's hitting home. And everybody knows the message. And you're tailoring and retailoring the message to fit where the Muslims are at in their heart. Right? So that's why all of this is happening like this, so we can do what we're doing now. Yeah. That's why it's all happening like this at the time. The world is at it's a place of development or constriction, wherever it's at. This is where it's supposed to be at the time, right? Okay, now, for us to make the inroads, the inroads is not difficult. The inroads is just doing it. That's all it is, just doing it. Because there's one thing that all the Muslims know, that they ain't did nothing to nobody. Everybody know. You can watch any TV program, you can hear it anywhere. The U.S. created Daesh to do this and they did that. Everybody knows it. Okay, so now we're going to pump all of that up, right? It wouldn't have did no good to others. Well, it probably wouldn't. But I'm just saying, this is the time. It don't make no difference what they think. One of the brothers that I know very well used to run the hills with me in Oakland years ago. Good God Almighty. 40 years ago. Sudanese brother. You know, them North Africans can really run too. Them boys, both of them were Sudanese. I said, these people run like they run over there. I mean, they just must got to be a gift from God. They're not directly from Ethiopia. They're not from Kenya, but they might as well be. They right next door. And I would be running with them in the hills. And I remember one of the brothers, we did a bump-to-bump run. AJ Bump is a restaurant, so from Davis AJ Bumps to the AJ Bumps in Sacramento, it was maybe 15 miles away. They call it bump-to-bump run. So every Saturday we would go on a run, outside run, but at least 3 days a week. I was running every day, but we was running them hills in Oakland, and I like these things around here. This just like it run you crazy if you didn't like it, but I liked it, so it's all right. So one of the Sudanese brothers, the one that was here the other month, we just running along. I said, is this a good pace for you? He said, Alhamdulillah. I said, so you feel nice and comfortable at this pace? You know, we almost to Sacramento by then. Alhamdulillah. I said, well, I have to kind of cool down a little bit. So, but he cooled down with me because he was running for the fun of it. Now, hey, man, all people got a certain gift. And the gift that Allah gave us is the ability to mess with the white man, the Americans, and the Zionists, just to whoop to everybody else. It just whoops them all. It ain't nothing they can do about us. There's something. I don't think he like us, nothing like that. But we done put a jinx on him. Yes, now I know that part. He's spooked. He pretending. Well, get rid of that nigger. Some of them say they get spooked. You know, you never know what happen. You know, the sky might fall. You know, And then I play with them like that. Yeah, you keep messing with me, you know. What the heck? They don't know whether you're playing or not, and they definitely don't know after all of this stuff and all of these years and all of the exactness, pinpoint accurate. You got to remember, when you come out of the woodwork, pinpoint accurate, let's just say for 40 years, but you've been for 50 years, pinpoint accurate. They ain't got no whole house, go to watch the TV, watch all the lectures. They ain't got nobody in none of the institutions that can cover the globe like we've been doing. I mean, it can hit the point. A few of them get a few little things right, but they got to regurgitate out of their mouth what the system will swallow. Right? They got to. That's because that's what they're in. They can't bring no truth or nothing like that, even when they know it's the truth. So we got it easy. All right, let me kind of get focused on what we're talking about. There's something that I hope we understand. This says, I don't have to trust human activists. I have to love them. Now, I don't like to use that word a lot because it sounds too sweetie pie, but I've been feeling that for decades. I just gonna tell you the truth. It had nothing to do with Jesus and none of that. But this love stuff is big. If I would have ever deviated from any of that, got mad, got angry, and even if it's justified, we've been saying this for years, but it's been going on before that. It not only has to do with not fighting other black people and them getting you off your point. You know, that's why you could hear me yelling at my sons, stay out of my business. You know, when I'm attacked, stay out of I already know what, you know. And they don't have to do nothing. They got all them other little Negroes around there that know Big Hank, you know, what's the name of them, Daddy, Big, and them niggas, you know. Plus I didn't help their parents buy a house or something anyway. But anyway, so they think, they do that stuff for a lot of reasons. We're going to mess with this Negro till he shows who his friends are. I ain't going to nobody. You got to figure it out. Are you so smart? Find out who they are. He's getting help from somewhere. Well, find out how it's getting there, who it's coming from, and what. You know. They think they'll put pressure on you and you'll lead them right to it. You just get tired. I got some homeboys in there. No. See, the other people been into this for a few years and they didn't evolve. We had to out-evolve. We have out-evolved the monster. No matter what you say about him, he's not bigger and not sharper or nothing than we are. We're sharper than he is. Now that sounds that we're sharper than the system. With ease. It's not even any work. We're sharper than the system with ease. And we're not picking on the system because this thing got old and kind of fat and out of shape. But the system is weak. The system has to have training systems to get people skinny enough to put them in the military. Why? Hell, they can't get nobody to pass the PT test. Right? That's America. California used to be dreamland. It's hell. It's just hell. I mean, Seattle, boy, that used to be, they had the World's Fair up there in 62. I mean, the stuff they had up there. it's not us picking on America when it's weak, but this is a period of Nero fiddling while Rome burns. What it means, the Congress ain't doing that. The Senate ain't doing that. The presidents, they're just fiddling. The whole place is on fire. You know, it doesn't mean that Nero, the emperor, was actually fiddling while Rome was burning. But the idea was useless, worthless. He couldn't do nothing. And Rome was on fire. Technically, America is on fire. And the bum can't do anything. And who knows it? Everybody. The world right now is just trying to stay out of the way of boss. We just don't want to make him mad. He'll run you over, he'll kill you, stuff like that, right? But the man is mad. He'll sanction you. He'll do whatever he wants, and he'll sanction anybody. You're sanctioned, huh? Yeah, you guys is gonna be. You're gonna be obliterated. You're gonna be sanctioned. You're gonna be scrutinized. That boy is crazy. I mean, he's actually crazy. And who knows it? Everybody. That's why some messages got to get to the Chinamans pretty quick. Take it easy, homeboys. Just you know what you're doing, but add a little Negro in it. That's what we're saying. Just add a little Negro, a little colored stuff. I'm telling you. You did the Chinese laundryman. Look, you played it to the hilt. That wasn't bad. But now don't let boss man make you buy some whole new ships and spend all your money like he did the Russians. You know, and get you all, divert you from a beautiful world there into the Chinese or into their 5 concentric celestial systems now, something they saying. They on a roll. I mean, they getting back to, they've been doing this for 4,000 or 5,000 years, so it ain't nothing new. But they didn't come up with some stuff that, and they're not dumb. Anti-Confucius, they got Confucius in the living room right this minute. The art of war, Chairman Mao was using all that stuff. That art of war. Anything you can think of, they bringing everybody back. Right? They bring everybody. If you're Chinese, you all right with us. What did you do good? Okay. Right? They bringing everybody back. The U.S. didn't think they would do that, and nobody else did. They're going to be with that communist. They says, shoot, we just, with Chinese characteristics, that's what Chinese, who you think Kun Su was? Confucius. Kun Su was a Chinaman. Lao Tzu's another Chinaman. Everybody else that was doing anything from back then and up to today, why, they're either Chinamans or descendants of Chinamans. And so that's all we got to say. So we're just hoping that they don't get pulled off course. You know, since spending no money on defense, you know, it's $4 or $5 on that quick little defense. You can shoot something over there. Can you imagine? That's why we mention things like the Bismarck. Is that the Yamamoto? Out of date. Airplane. Sunk them. I mean, the Pride, and they cost like the and the U.S. is building all them aircraft carriers. And they're going to have Australia buying all them submarines that they're going to get in 15 or 20 years. Now that is talking about don't make sense. It's crazy. And they done made all their home folks bad. Remember, you don't have to do nothing to boss man. Boss man knocks himself out of the box. When it comes your time to go, everybody can stand back. We said that no, boss man. We just don't want you to fall on us. That's all. We just watching out. That's historical. That's why Quran, Hadith, history. This has happened before. It has happened before almost exactly. Because everybody else acted on the way up exactly like everybody else, right? And they got their opportunity, they got their chance. I don't care. It was a time when the black folks in Africa was the big chiefs. They was running the world, everything. And then they had a little go of it, and they blew it. Or they just forgot Allah's grace. And here come the goose-stepping Europeans, and they got hold to it temporarily. Can you imagine? Boss man been here a shorter time than anybody. Hey man, you talking about the pages of history, they're just going to go woof. You know what I mean? When they study boss man up in the future, it's going to be one page. One page, maximum. That was a place called the United States. That was a few guys that ran around doing this, and they repeated the same historical process as the Babylonians and everybody else. And that's that, right? They won't even, okay, let me speed up. Have y'all ever heard the saying, Lord, forgive them, they know not what they do? You know where that come from? Now they say Jesus said that, but it's good to remember. We remember this. Now, why would we want to remember stuff like that? Look, we're not dumb. We have seen a lot. Dealing with what we've been dealing with, 76 could be considered a long time because it's not a place for longevity. The criminal and the spiritual and religious and movement stuff, you put them three together, you don't get no time. Right? I mean, if you put all of those things together, whether it was Malcolm, 39 years, right? King, 39 years. Anybody else, Black Panther Party, Bobby Hutton wasn't but 16 or 17, right? Those are not, if they want to, people choose professions for, well, this has longevity. This is what we're doing. Everything we do, if you look up the longevity, protractedness, they don't come up. And here we got it. It's for a reason. It's for a reason. It is not possible. The day I got here, they unleashed every tattletale in D.C. on us. Every last one of them. Some of them you'll see them pulling in all the day. Wherever you look, you're going to see them. But that's why we say right here, I don't have to trust human activists. I have to love them. For this mission is necessary. Yeah, well, use what you have. That's what we're using. Hey, technically we've been using it, but it's getting more now. You know why it's more? Because it's getting closer. Everything is getting closer. You can feel it easing on in. And it's up to the people to choose what they see. We know we're doing what's kind of like the right thing. Everybody have a right to choose for themselves. You got to choose. People got to choose because they go into hell or they go into heaven based on what they do. right? You ain't got no coattails. Heaven ain't got no, you can't, well, I was doing so good, could I bring Johnny with me? Johnny, he wasn't that smart, you know. Johnny had to, Allah knows how much sense Johnny got. And if Johnny didn't have no sense, he gonna let him go in. You can go, I mean, I'm just saying. Because he didn't have enough sense to know the difference between heaven and hell. He didn't know what you was talking about, and he just didn't get it. And Allah is Al-Ghafur Rahim. I will admit this is a wonderful period. So write up counter anti-Zionist flyers. My personal contribution to future global harmony. That sounds good. But just think, they had people thinking Negroes couldn't make a contribution to nothing but pimping, hustling, and using dope. And now we're out to save humanity. Well, hell, we're Power Rangers, right? Yeah. And guess what? Either physically or psychologically, how do you think they look at us? We morphing up, you know, like the Power Rangers, they got just a regular little old guy. Then when it's time to fight the big old giant, they blow that air in him. He get big, he be just like the giant, right? That's happening to us. You can smell it a little bit when we go around, because people, that's so-and-so. That's what they do. You can tell something is going on. Oh, okay. I don't care whether it's the police or whoever. Okay, right. And we're going to do the right thing. You know, like the people don't understand. If Allah give you something this good, hey, you know. Anyway, we have openly defeated on the battle space. Battle space of their choice, the full force of America or Americanism. That means we didn't whoop the white man on his chosen battlefield. Because remember, we said, oh, boss man, can we have a little so-and-so? A little psychological warfare stuff instead of that physical stuff. Yeah, nigga, we'll run you crazy anyway. You wait to see, boy, we gonna run you crazy. Oh, boss man, don't do us like that. And now who's crazy? Boss man is crazy. Boss man is crazy. Look, you can't call it, okay, so he's not crazy, it's up to you. Design special trap for full, I don't have the last word here. Full, okay, that's of Congress, of presidency, military, counter anti-Zionist grip on the modern world. Boy, look at here. If you notice, it's the Zionists, because they're running the world. And that's stupid for them to stick their butt out there and do that stuff with the whole world watching. And it's okay. It's okay. It's us. That's because ain't nobody sitting there telling them, well, we're going to clown them. We're going to tell them, anyway. Save the world. Defeat Zionism. The Negro plan. You remember, we can't have just a regular, not the Tanaka plan, the control the world. This is save the world, defeat Zionism. In parentheses, the Negro plan. See, we're not going to forget the Negro. Everybody else, we too smart to be Negroes. We too light to be Negroes. We're going to bring the Negro with us all the way. Actually, yeah. The Negro haven't done too bad to been treated like he is treated and still a human being. That's why the church is not bad, because the church kept us human. We didn't have nothing after slavery. Nothing. We were just like but the church organized us and gave us a vision of the future. Yeah, it did. We said that in our literature. We're not them old handkerchief-headed preachers. Sure, they was handkerchief-headed. We got handkerchief-headed Muslims. They worse than the preachers because they know better. I mean, handkerchief-headed Muslims. Boy, they handkerchief-headed. Save the world, defeat Zionism, the Negro plan, full Zion. Oh, yeah, this says pull the Zionist pants down and whip his behind. That's right, that's what we're going to do. Excuse the language, a public ass kicking. That's what we're going to do. Yes, we just going to whip. And there's nothing the Zionists can do about it. There's nothing they can do. Because they doing everything wrong. Anything we point out, there's no defense. And we're going to pull it off with humor. Yeah, the world going to be laughing at the Zionists. Program every 5 or 6 weeks. So that's organized papers. Counter-Zionist movement in North America. Okay, we know. Ramadan 1, 1443 is on April the 3rd. Yeah, it's on April the 3rd, 2022. So the Eid would probably be, well, a month after that. I think it'll be Ramadan 1, April 3rd. Okay. Starting to slip up in the cool weather a little bit, but we'll make it. Liberate North America from Zionist control. You can imagine, not that I'm tripping off the Zionists, but that's our mission. As-Sabiqun Liberation Musa, As-Sabiqun Liberation Organization to liberate North America. That means all the people in it. And North America is just the beginning. Now, I know this sounds kind of crazy, but I'm telling you, if you would have came here 30 years ago or something or more, we just opened a little house around there, it would have seemed like all the talk was doing, it just looks like talk. But we have, in the heyday of being around here, we done got everybody's attention, right? And when the head of the Islamic movement, Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui, says, this guy here, that was 25 years ago. This guy, he said something, I forgot what it was. But instead of everybody jumping out and giving you a pat on the back, they did like, when it got when the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, I lead whoever, if I'm the Maula, then everybody said, boy, I just really would have liked that to be said about me. Seemed like they just jumped up and forgot it. Hardly nobody remembered that. I'm telling you, boy, that's strong hadith too, but don't nobody. Anyway, the head of the Islamic movement, I had forgot Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui, he said something like, Imam Musa is the essence of all that is good. I said, good God Almighty. And everybody heard it. They was there. They couldn't have not heard it. And 2 days later, they had it took them 5 years or so, but they had demobilized that whole idea. They jumped on that right away. The whole crew did. The whole crew. So it ain't accidental for us to be here like this is not an accident. It's from old time stickability, and stuff like that. And the other thing about this right now, this is a winter offensive. It don't seem like winter. Now, if they don't think nothing happened with the weather, what was it, 60 degrees out here or something today? And this is December, the end of December, okay? Forget it. I remember the first year I was here, I went up to a program on January 1st. I remember it because I was staying over at the Muslim house on 16th Street and giving khutbahs. And I had a hot cup of coffee on top of the car, and I knocked it over, and it ran down the side of the window, and it froze halfway down. That's how cold it was. I'm telling you, like that hot cup of coffee, you're getting ready to go on the road, and it's January. I'm going to the end of the year. They have all these programs. Poop, knocked that coffee over. And if the window is this far, that coffee ran down to right there and stopped, froze. I said, I said, that's serious. I say, it's cold out here. And it was cold. And now this is the same time of the year. They invited me here once in November. They had to November. Maybe it was November 11th in 84 or something. 80, yeah. They had to cancel the program because it was 3 feet of snow in D.C. It was snow like that a little while ago. And now they don't have that. Hey, okay. Our road to victory, save the world, defeat Zionism. I hate to sound like a broken record. Negro plan, huh? Hey man, we're on the road. Negro plan for victory over Zionism. Write our own book. Remember we were talking about read your own book that you wrote. That's what we're talking about. Okay. Deja vu, 2012. We have seen this before many times. And that's when we actually wrote it in the book of 2012. This is as big as it gets for Negroes, for anybody to challenge Zionism in this era. This is as big as it gets. There's nobody better organized and nobody that's got more control over world activities than the Zionists. And we're going up against them. Happily. Yep. So you have to be a little, it's okay. This is as big as it gets. We don't want to talk about behavior absurdity, but there's some behavior that's going on that is absurd. And y'all know who that is. This absurd behavior. But our part in world history, well thought out, well executed, professional presentation. Practice documents, a lot of stuff we put out, like if we put out a flyer, the first one's a practice document, then the next one is better, then everything improves. It's just like working out, when you get out of shape, you just go out and work out a little, then you go out a little. Pretty soon, bam, you say, I'm back. That's the way this feels online today. Protracted expert. Boy, that's good feeling to feel like you're an expert on longevity. That's us. Protracted expert on longevity. Not that Negroes don't live that long to get a chance to talk that stuff, but this is part of the harassment of boss man and his friend or his leader, the Zionist. Yes, indeed. Design decline. Well, we didn't heard a lot of that before. Design decline. Can you imagine? Boss man designed a decline for herself. Mukhtar. I'm not going to talk about that. But if you notice on that thing that we all signed, I got John Hancock here. John Hancock Mukhtar. Remember John Hancock, that out of all the people that signed that document, the only one you remember is John Hancock. You ought to look at it. I'll show y'all Mukhtar. His name is all over there. That's okay, no problem. We're going to have, we've been evolving so fast that they don't know where we're at. Neither Abdul Malik, Mukhtar, and them. See, I used to call them high school Negroes. Now I call them elementary school Negroes because we're going so fast ahead. It's not only in one way. When you learn to overlook all the things that people do because they're human, right? You're stretching out. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're stretching out. That's why look, all we're going to do is just love everybody to death. They can do what they want, right? Because there's nothing you can do about it. So we just love everybody. Anything they do is fine. They answer to Allah for it. And then a lot of people act the way they act because they have never seen, and people have been taught every man has his price. That's what they say. You just haven't figured it out yet. Well, so far it's not true. So far it's not true. Boss man has been with everything. You want to sell dope, you want to organize Negroes all over the country, why don't you go on and do that? Well, a little 40 years late, 30 years late, that ain't what's happening now. Because it's not the little bit of money you would have, $1 billion. What are you going to do with $1 billion and no faith? What are you going to do with it if you don't have no faith? If you don't want to do Allah's work, what good? What are you going to do with $1 billion? Nothing. Nothing. They'll print $1 billion a day at downtown. Just printing it out. Imam Tufail's Strategic Command Center from right over there. Great comeback, our comeback on our own historical foundation. That's what it looks like. We're doing it standing on our own foundation, not best based with them. That's why it's nice. Okay, no matter, and I'm going to just say this, no matter what we might have done in the past, it's not as nice as this. It's not as nice. It's not as nice because it didn't fit like this. This is fitting better all the time, all of this. And okay, most of the stuff we had planned years ago, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, a land that I heard of once in a lullaby, that's really something that what we're talking about is Dreamland 101. It's not possible. You're dealing with the human being, and therefore, human beings not going to go so far. We don't believe that. You just got to put the right thing in front of the human being, and he'll fool you every time. The human being got stuff in them that the human being don't even know. And because nobody is trying to pull out, they got the human being pulling out fear, suspicion, hatred, and all that. Everything is designed for that. Whenever you do that, you're finished. Okay? We already talked about these things. I'll just be archivist, documentalist, chronicler, historian, okay, educators, trainers, We've always been talking about what we're doing here. Archivist. And we'll be back to writing in a minute. Documentalists, chroniclers, historicizing, all of this. No, we did this way so we could do this. And we told everybody what we was doing. Every minute. Okay, willpower, strong-mindedness, all that stuff. It's a resistance award. That's what they should give us. And I close with this. Tafweed, delegation of all our affairs to Allah. And Rida, well pleased with what Allah is, that's big. We didn't have strategic alliances, we have them soon. And remember, all of our teams are winning. They're all winning. And they catching it too. but they rolling. And some of our acquaintances down in Dixie just got back from Iran. I guess I just have to explain to them what's happening, because I tell them every other day. They don't seem to understand what I'm talking about. But like people go back and they become big commentators and stuff like that, you know. And then, well, Imam Musa, the stuff that certain things are not going on in Iran. They're not paying attention to that. I said, hell, they never have been paying attention to that. Allah been doing all this. So Rafsanjani said in 87, let's do this on our own. Allah is doing everything else. That's what he said in 87. Right? During the jihad, during the war. So the people come back from here, they try to divert you away from the love or the expectation that you have from a certain people or a certain environment. Those people by the numbers are not getting worse, they're getting better. In the early part of the revolution, there was more people stealing, there was more all of that. They're getting better. And the stuff that they're doing is world renowned. So if we look at our allies, whether it's China, if people don't fight against you, you can have them as an ally, right? It's simple, the Quran, all like that. Even the mean old communist, the old Putin now, he's not a mean old communist anymore. At least he don't say he is. And he give white folks little green disease, whatever they be getting when they be dropping dead. I know they lying about him, But you can have allies, long as they're not killing you, right? That's a legal ally. So anyway, and then our homeboys, I'm going to say this and close. Man, our folks in Yemen, just doing all that stuff, what the Hezbollah is going through in Lebanon, hey man, they destroyed Libya, but they're going to get another, don't worry, something's going to come out of that good. Iraq, they destroyed the whole country, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. They destroyed all of the ancient Masjid in Mosul. Man, they done destroyed everything. And then Trump was going to come and destroy. He said, we're going to hit this place and that place. And they were all on the United Nations list of ancient such and such. We're going to destroy Persepolis because it's so many thousands of years old. Hey, and I'm going to close with this. To watch the unfolding of history during this period of time is what we used to call a trip. This is a trip. Just watching it. Just plug it in the news and turn it on and sit back. So this is a trip. This is a trip here, boy. Look at here. I mean, it's a trip. I don't know what nowadays that would mean. This is a trip, I'm telling you. Only thing, we get to play a big part in it, and we've already played a big part in it. We've played the biggest part in the United States. Yeah. That's what we've already done. And looks like we might have a few more years because we want to do right. If you want to do right, right might happen. Are there any questions or comments?
Brother said, Alhamdulillah, my brother
some of the Muslims that they see how the Muslims be walking by,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of makes them sad, you know.
Oh, okay. We're there talking and talking on their behalf, and the Muslims is trying to hurry on by.
Yeah, and some of the Muslims were commenting on Facebook that, you know, like, you know, dismayed. They seemed saddened that the Muslims gave us that response. You know, could you address that? You know,
Can I follow that up?
Yes, go ahead.
Or that what you're doing is more detrimental, is dividing us.
there's that. You too.
Dividing the Muslims, and specifically if the message is wahda, the perception is that being at another masjid is dividing.
Well, that's great. They could, I don't mean to sound funny, but they might as well get, that's wonderful. Number one, before every transition, you can take Iran, or you can take anywhere. Before the revolution, they had people moving fast toward revolution, back to religion, and they had nude beaches on the Caspian Sea. They were running fast. So, what is it, the type of unity? We want to have unity in suffering? What kind of unity they want? From the hadith we've been reading, it tell us to do what we're doing. All the hadith, every Quranic ayat tell us to do what we're doing. Just simple ones. Just one or two. This is what's starting trouble. Muslim is a brother to a fellow Muslim. He should neither commit oppression upon him, nor should he hand them over to an oppressor. And whoever fulfills the need of his brother, Allah will fulfill his need. And whosoever brings his brother Muslim out of a hardship, Allah will relieve him from the hardship of all hardships. That's the day of resurrection. And whoso conceals the faults of a Muslim, Allah will conceal his sins on the day of resurrection. Number one, let's go backwards. We're not talking about anybody's faults. You bad Muslims, you just ain't, no, we're not saying that. We're saying, we said 3 times, Subhanallah, the Asra bi abdihi laylan min al masjid al haram ila al masjid al aqsa. Blessed is he who sent his servant from Masjid al-Haram in Mecca to Masjid al-Aqsa, the furthest mosque, whose precincts we did bless. The Zionists walk in there with boots on, talking crazy, and we're saying it's wrong. And if you rescue a Muslim, or if you just don't oppress him, or greet him with a smile, right? So, all of what we're doing is what Allah and His Messenger say. One, this is the case of the believer. There's good for him in everything. And it's for him alone. If he experiences something agreeable, he is grateful to Allah, and that is good for him. And if he experiences adversity, he is steadfast, and that's good for him in Sahih Muslim. So, this brotherhood of yours is a single brotherhood. Umatan wasatan, umate wasat. A community of the balanced community, the golden mean. Community is a group of bricks. Each one supports each other, right? A foundation of strength and determination and ability. So we're standing on good territory.
Well, there seems to be an attitude that, or a climate
Okay.
It's like the Masjid, the brothers and sisters who go to that Masjid, it's just, they want to keep the message, and they met whatever your particular message is,
Right.
keep it in the Masjid, in your Masjid.
Yeah. Oh no, that's not. Don't have nothing about Islam. That don't have nothing to do with Islam. They could have all that attitude they want. The more of that, the better, because that give us more stuff to shoot at. Although we won't be shooting at it. Examples. The masajid that have these big Eids around the area, that's not their money. Look at what the money is for. The money is for the Gharimin, Ibn Sabil, traveling in the way of Allah. It's for the Fukara, you know what I mean? For the Masakin, Amilin Alayha, those who help collect and distribute the zakat, right? That's not their money. I told that to a police a couple of years ago when Sakina was outside the Islamic Center. He said, they can't be right here begging. I said, it's not begging. This is, look what day this is. I happen to have the ayats. I said, this is what this is. That's not their money. It's not their money, right? They happen to get a facility, but they're going to get $1 zillion, right? What about us that's been out here and everybody knows that the United States government is working against us? When the masjid was full, we wasn't out by, well, excuse me, we did go out. There's a custom. But now there's nobody here. That money is for us. Ibn Sabil, those who are going out in the way of Allah. Those whose mu'alafatul qulub, we're newish into Islam, and other people that would come here would be new. We were supposed to have money to help them. Amalin alayha, those who help distribute the wealth. You know, personally, I stayed with my family in that room back there. Do you remember that? We stayed back there. Why? Because we wanted to rent the place out where you was around there. And when we was over there, we stayed in the basement. What's the name of them stayed up top? Everything comes down there. In those days, it was wet down there. It was all of that. My family was down there. And they didn't like it, but they stayed. They didn't have nowhere else to go. They stayed down there. Okay, so I think like probably you could get a star by your name. You know, if it was Jahiliyyah, you'd get a star by your name for the way we live. Don't nobody else do it. They don't even think about it. Okay? They don't even think about it. So we don't have no sympathy for those people that say those things. In fact, we're out there to get those people. We're not going to be mad at them. We're going to do just like we did last week. Because remember, the sinners, when nobody comes to them and say anything, it makes hiding in the masjid and turning your back. If they ever want to read the Quran, who is the Quran against? Us or them? Who's it admonishing? Is it saying, Imam Musa, you and your crew, y'all got to straighten up because y'all, or is it talking to them? It's talking to them from what we read. It's talking to them. We're giving them an opportunity. And we didn't give them, well, Allah gave them opportunities to sit in those masajid and do nothing. I mean, beyond nothing. And they come out here's what they're worried about. The Negroes is worried that we keep coming around. Some of them going to hear that word, which is absolutely true. Which is absolutely true. Pretty soon, after a few months of hearing the message, reading our flyers, and remember, we're going to get more professional on flyers, all that, and CD, DVDs and all that, it's going to affect, they won't be able to, the Imam going to stand up and say, we're scared of the Zionists, they're going to throw pies at they behind. Yes, they are. That's what they're worried about, getting them pies thrown in their face and everything. Yeah, because it's pitiful. It's pitiful. It would make, you cannot pass that Islam. Nobody will accept that version of Islam with a big cheer. Islam is going to make you a coward. You accept this, man, you're going to be the scaredest nigga in the United States. You thought you was scared when them niggas jumped on you last week? Man, you take your shahada, man, you going to be shaking in your boots, right? Absolutely not. They getting ready to get woke up. And they're getting ready to be uncomfortable. And the people are going to ask, why the hell are you talking like that? And look what the people are giving good khutbahs if nothing was happening. Like if I listen to some of them, patience and all that. Hey man, they are nice khutbahs. But not on what's going on. It's like nothing is happening in the world, right? It ain't the way, no, we're not going to, we've thought about this, we've been thinking about this for decades, man. And we've been planning for this. And we've been monitoring ourselves, too. We monitor ourselves. They don't have to monitor us. It's good they do, but we really monitor ourselves. So we have idea about what they say, what the Quran say, and where does what we say fit in with that? Does that make any sense? Shoot, man. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to get one comment on that. Yeah, actually, it's a good point about the whole, the beginning of the Islamic Revolution. You had two different groups. You see one group on social media that's seeing the response of the Muslims just walking by, and they're like, what is wrong with those people? But then you have the other group you brought up that actually got an issue with what we're doing. And you see the middle of the room is clearing out.
Yeah.
Everybody going to their own wall,
Yeah. No, we're going to be the heroes in this. It's not because we want to be heroes, but the Muslims, the Saudi-funded, they're not doing anything. They're not helping anybody. They're actually hurting. They're the ones going against Islam. I mean, bad. The stuff that they're doing is as bad as what the Zionists do too. They starve Muslims to death. They are killing women and children. They're holding hands with the guy that sent depleted uranium to kill babies coming out with 2 heads and 3 arms. No, they do. They hey man, oh no. They I'm sorry. But I do, the offer is there. If they like to hear that, they should go sit there with them. Wait till the day of judgment. That's what we say. You like that nothingness? Go over there and go with them. If nobody want to come with us, don't come. That's all. But my feeling is that the Muslims want to do. They want to. They know nobody can be a Muslim and read the Quran and not know. It's kind of clear, and they read a hadith after every. They read a hadith in the morning after Fajr. They read a hadith. Some of them after Maghrib and Isha. Some after every prayer, but some they get in a combination of hearing the Quran and knowing what it's saying, and the hadith. We're on safe ground. They're the ones that need the help. Okay.
And this one's a little bit off topic, but a brother did ask, is it haram to have locks to lock your hair? I told the brother I'd ask,
Locks of hair. Okay. The hadiths say like, okay. The hadiths say certain things about the hair. They say like the pigtail style with this cut off and that cut off. You can't have hair like this. That's what it says. Okay. And now the braids. Mostly in most countries, women wear braids. Okay. But let's just say this. First, let's rescue the Muslims that are getting slaughtered and run over by everything and doo-doo thrown on them. Then we'll have some hearings on, after it's all fixed, everything, on braids, whether the wudu, you got to make sure the water gets down to you, stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's, I'm sorry.
brother asked,
No, I mean, we could give an answer, but it's just the answer is, first thing we do is there are things that are necessary to deal with. Let's deal with those things first. And may Allah accept their prayers if they have some braids or something. Because Allah know whether they know they should wear them or whether they don't know, Yeah. And why should we change the subject from the hawk to get into off in the woods? Yep. Any more questions or comments?
no, that was it.
Alhamdulillah.